This Sunday is October 4th, which is the feast day of St. Francis of Assisi, one of the most seminal figures in the Christian tradition. And we will be celebrating St. Francis's feast day in a number of ways. At our Lakeshore service, we will be having a blessing of the animals. This is one of the most common ways that culturally we commemorate St. Francis, thinking about his relationship with the natural order and his love for all animals. So we invite you to bring your cats, your dogs, your llamas, your birds, whatever you feel comfortable. Bring them all to the 9 o'clock Lakeshore service for a blessing. And then in the afternoon, the choir will present an Evensong that will really pick up on the ideas that St. Francis wrote about, thought about, and prayed about. So rather than really using a lot of his words in the Evensong, we are going to more pick up on this Franciscan sort of an idea. We'll start the service off with an introit by St. Louis-based composer Robert Lehman. It's a prayer for peace. As I said, the words are not by Francis. They are actually anonymous English words from the 16th century. Rob wrote this piece in response to the tragic events of 9/11 and sort of a Christian response to that really terrible tragedy. So the text is, Jesu, for thy mercy endless, save thy people and send us now thy peace. Jesu, for thy wound is 5, save from shedding human blood, cease all great trouble of malice and strife, and of our neighbors send us tidings good. It's very stark and yet very, very beautiful. At the Invitatory, the inviting moment of the service, when we invite the congregation to worship with us, we'll be singing Christ Mighty Savior, Light of All Creation. This is one of the most common texts that we sing at Evensong, and yet we have several different musical versions of this. For October 4th, we'll be singing music by the New York-based composer David Hurd. David Hurd is both a composer and an organist, and being African-American also has a lot of interest in jazz and in spirituals, and has done a lot of arranging of spirituals. And you can hear a little bit of that bluesy, jazzy influence in this music that he wrote for these words. Christ mighty Savior, light of all creation. The Magnificat in Nunc Dimittis setting that the choir will sing is one of the more familiar ones from our choir. It's a setting by David Hogan, and it's one of the 2 services that he wrote for the Washington National Cathedral, and he called this evening service the Washington Service. It's really bouncy and fun and has a lot of that sort of playful spirit that we think about with St. Francis. And then at the anthem, the choir will sing the setting of a prayer that is just hauntingly beautiful. Again, the words are not by St. Francis, but are so deep into Francis's theology. Our Father, who has set a restlessness in our hearts and made us seekers after that which we can never fully find, forbid us to be satisfied with what we make of life. Draw us from base content and set our eyes on far-off goals. Very challenging and really a text that struggles with faith. And the music does the same thing. And then at the very end of the service, the office hymn will finally get some words by good old Francis himself. Most high, omnipotent, good Lord, with a musical setting by Calvin Hampton, who was active in New York City for all of his career. So we hope that you will join us as we celebrate the life and the theology of St. Francis of Assisi this Sunday.